Played 15 years. Okay, let's see if this works. Hopefully it does. Hey, Miss Hampton.
Hi. Now you have to tell me, please. It has you an Android. This is the second time I've had such technical difficulties just trying to get on. And
It's
then I was
okay.
trying to get on with my computer. It's crazy. I'm like,
You know what? I don't think. Yeah, I'm not sure that you can do the lives on your computer on your laptop.
oh wow,
Yeah,
okay.
I think it's just on the iPhones. And I didn't think the Androids. I just thought once you go live, you go live. I didn't know there was all these technical difficulties. But first and foremost, I want to thank you on behalf of myself and my partner, my brother, my co-host K Jamal, and everybody on the check-in tuning in. We want to thank you sincerely, just for taking time out of your precious schedule to join us, to kick it with us, to talk about your journey, your career. It's a pleasure. It's an honor. Have to introduce you and give you the proper introduction. For those that don't know, we are talking to this evening one of Louisville, Kentucky's finest, 15-year pro. 15 years? Is that correct?
Yeah.
15 years pro. Former WNBA All-Star, former New York Liberty, Ms. Kym Hampton.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Before we begin, I hope all is well. I hope you and your family are staying safe, staying healthy through these trying times. Hopefully, we'll be able to resume all normal activities soon. I think one of the first things that I want to ask you is, what got you started with the game, and how did you fall in love with the game? Who were some of your early influences?
Well, I started playing because one of my good friends just kept begging me to play. She was like, "Come on, we need someone to play." But I was so shy. I didn't want to play. So I really didn't start playing organized sports until my freshman year of high school.
Yes.
So, I was a late bloomer, and the high school coach kept asking me to play. And finally, I just decided to play, and it just kind of locked in.
Would you say was that around the time that you feel like you fell in love with the game? And is that around the time that you felt like you possibly had a shot and a chance at playing at the collegiate level?
No, I would say that was probably my sophomore year of high school. My freshman year, I was just still kind of feeling things out. But over the summer, between my freshman and sophomore year, I became a lifeguard for my summer job, and I got a chance to play ball in the park with the guys all summer long. And so when I went back my sophomore year, I was starting varsity, killing. And I knew at that point, that's when it just clicked to me. I'm going to college on a scholarship. And, that's when I made my decision.
But I want the people to know also that you were a maybe 3-4 sports star. You ran track. You were a star in track. You did the discus. You did the shot put. How were you? Where did the athleticism and the athletic bug, where did that come from? And how are you able to juggle playing 3 to 4 different sports and being good at each one?
Well, after my freshman year of playing basketball, the track coach approached me and asked me if I would throw the shot put for the team. And I said, okay, yeah. I was kind of feeling myself. I was feeling good, and so I did. And I ended up winning the state championship, as a freshman and everything. But I think my athletic genes, it was something that I've always had, because even as a freshman, I could grab the rim with 2 hands. I was the quickest player on the team.
So you were grabbing the rim.
Yeah, I could grab the rim. Yeah. And so athleticism was something that I was just born with. That was a true gift, but it comes from my father's side of the family. And because we had great athletes, on my father's side of the family as well. So
when did I want to say when did the recruiting process, when did that start to pick up for you? When did the schools start coming around and started to take notice?
My junior year. I was averaging about 28 and 15.
Mm.
I won the state championship. I had already won the state championship my freshman and sophomore year in track and field. So by
Wow.
the time I was a senior, I mean, I was getting letters as a junior, a lot of letters in both track and basketball. But by the time I was a senior, I was averaging like 32 and 15. I was the top player. You know, I was the top player in the state of Kentucky, and I won the state. I lost the state championship my junior year. Just unfocused fluke, off day. But I came back and I won, and I set the state record, you know, my senior year and stuff. And so, you know, I was faced with, okay, do I go to college on a basketball or track scholarship? And basketball was just a lot more fun for me. So it was crazy though. I mean, I was getting calls from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. at night,
Wow.
you know, just
from college coaches, from college recruiters.
It's everywhere. Yes.
Ultimately, you decided on Arizona State University. I want to know how difficult was it for you, because you're homegrown, born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky. And so Louisville, Kentucky, it's like you either go to Kentucky or Louisville. So we need to know, like, how did that even come about? How did you make that choice?
Well, it was just a real tough time for me. My mom was ill. She had gone through like a nervous breakdown.
Okay.
I had to go live with my dad. And, you know, and then I looked around my senior year, and a lot of the people that were graduating at the time, going to the University of Louisville, you know, and stuff, I just felt like I needed a change. I felt like I needed to see something different. I wanted to get away. I just needed to get away, you know, and so, you know, I was getting letters from Tennessee every single day. But again, women's basketball wasn't big, so I didn't know what school to go to. You know, my college coach went to a HBCU, and he was trying to get me to go to his school. And he wasn't pressuring me, but he was saying, well, you know, you can always go there, you know, and things like that. And I knew I could go bigger than that. And so I'm getting letters from UCLA, you know, USC, you know, I'm getting letters from, you know, all across the nation. At the time, Old Dominion was hot. I was getting letters from Old Dominion, but I didn't understand they were national champions. They, you know, had Andon. They had all of these players, you know, Nancy Lieberman and all of these players. I didn't know all of that. You know, had I known, I could have made a more educated choice, you know, because as we know, a lot of times where you go to school can dictate whether you play USA basketball, you know, Olympic basketball and things like that. Yeah. So I just like the campus. And mind you, they were at that time, they were not flying students out for 5 visits, you know, to the university. So I really made a blind choice, you know.
Now, so you guys didn't get any visits? You guys weren't able to?
If you do it on your own.
On your own. Wow. So a lot of players back then might have made their choice just going off of, listen, I'm just going to go to that school without even seeing the school.
That's it. A lot of people.
Wow. Now,
and you didn't get that many kids transferring either, like nowadays.
Yeah. You know, I think I definitely want to get into that because I think obviously it's a different day and age, and it's a different era, and things are done just a bit differently. So, you know, but did you receive I don't like to use the word backlash, but did anyone in your state / city say to you, well, why are you going to Arizona State? Why not Kentucky? Why not Louisville? Did anybody question the choice?
You know, at the time, people did. They're like, you know, aren't you going to go? You know, why? You know, stuff. And I was just, when I told them my reasons, they understood. You know, I need to get away. You know, my family situation is just kind of crazy, and I just can't take it. I just don't feel like I can have that. I don't feel like I would enjoy my college career with the weight of all of that on my shoulders.
Got it.
You know, and it was just a lot, you know, so it was more for me than it was anything, you know, and stuff like that.
Did you have anyone that was there in your corner to help you make basketball choices and decisions?
Again, my high school coach, he was there and very supportive. He
Okay.
helped me go through letters. If he had any information about any of the schools, he was saying, well, I heard this school is this and that. And the coach of this school, she used to be a great player and I saw that. Or, this person, so he was there actually. And he was very, very supportive. I remember he took me, picked me up the day I decided I was going to go to Arizona State. He was like, all right, come on. He came and got me out of class and took me to the office, so that I could make the call and let the coach know that I was ready to commit, so.
Now you go to Arizona State. I mean, you have a terrific career. You guys go to the NCAA tournament. I want to say, is it twice?
Well, we went to the tournament, I want to say 3 times.
Three times?
Sweet 16 twice.
Yes. Now, for you.
And did we make it to the Elite 8? What? No, I can't remember. No, it's Sweet 16. So Sweet 16.
For you, the entire experience being a college athlete coming from Louisville, Kentucky, now going to Arizona State, was it everything that you expected? And how did you adjust to the college game?
It was nothing like I expected. It was culture shock.
Wow.
Do you hear me? I think when I was landing and coming down, I looked down and it was like a lot of desert. And I'm like, what the hell did I get myself into? I could have sworn I saw tumbleweed. I was like, oh my God, like, what is this, And Tempe, Arizona is very much a college town. And everything. And it's a beautiful campus. The facilities were amazing. I mean, the weather was great. I mean, so you had to really find your good in it when you were coming from a place, and then it wasn't that many Black people, and things like that. So even that within itself was somewhat of a culture shock. But although the majority of the athletes, where you had the football team, the basketball team, so the athletes so we were a tight knit community. But when you come from places, where you have, where it's a predominantly African-American, area,
Right.
it was a little bit of culture shock. And not only that, just academically, just having to lock in and be more focused. Our coach only allowed us to take like 12 hours the first semester just so we could get acclimated. And I can remember having a math class and struggling and almost failing. And that means I wouldn't have been eligible for the second semester. So having that pressure, having to get a tutor and having to stay for extra for study hall, and things like that. And I locked in, and I got it done and everything. But, even that was, an adjustment. And then let's talk about on court. Oh my God,
Yes.
my coach was crazy. I mean, crazy in a good, she was crazy in a good sense. She was hard. And the reason she was so hard is because her name is Julian Brzezinski Simpson. She was on the 76 Olympic team, co-captain with Pat Head Summit. So of course, she knows what it takes to be the best. And when she sees talent, she's going to push talent. I had never been pushed that hard in my life. And she felt like I was a lazy loaf, So she pushed me, and I mean, pushed me. So that mentally, I wanted to transfer 2 times. But what made me stay was the fact that I did not want to come across as a quitter and a loser, like that. If the pressure is so tough, I can't take it. And then I didn't want to hear my father say, I told you should have stayed here and went to Louisville, and stuff. So I felt like I had to make it, and for me, it was one of the greatest lessons that I think I've ever learned in my life. The best lessons in life come from the hardest teachers, and now we have a tendency to want to run away from the tough teachers. If you have a coach that's holding you accountable, that's not letting you talk and act and loaf and things like that, then you just quit the team and play for another team. Well, that's not what that's for. You got to go through that, because if you push yourself and allow yourself to reach a certain level, then you're really like, whoa, you think you're good now. Yeah. And so, one of the lessons I learned many was, when you think you've given all you got, there is always more. Like there's always more.
Yes. When did you realize that, or did you envision yourself, did you ever envision yourself playing professionally? And no. When did that when did you realize that you could play professionally?
Uh, well, my junior year of college, my sophomore year, I played in the Pan Am games on the West team, and so I played with like Cheryl Miller and the McGee twins, and we played on the West team. And then we got a chance to travel abroad to play, and then so that's how we met up with some American girls that were over there playing with their
Wow.
countries. Like 2 girls were playing on the Italian team, you know, and stuff. And so we just hung with them, you know, and everything. And so I realized, oh my gosh, when I graduate, I want to go overseas and I want to play. And so that's when I kind of realized, you know, that that's what I wanted to do, because there was no professional basketball in America for women.
Right. So now you finish out your career. You 2014, I want to say they retired your jersey. Arizona State retired your jersey. You were also inducted into the Arizona State Hall of Fame, which both are, you know, incredible feats. I think as an athlete, for anyone that plays, especially on a collegiate level, you dream about certain things, but having your jersey retired and being placed in a Hall of Fame, those are things that, you know, not everyone can't really accomplish those things. What was it like to know that your jersey was going up in the rafters and you also inducted into the Arizona State Hall of Fame?
It was such an honor to know that I made such an impact on women's basketball and at Arizona State. You know, it's so funny because I still happen to be the all-time leading scorer and rebounder, male or female, in the history of Arizona State. So I scored 2,300 points and I got over 1,400 rebounds. Thank you. But, you know, when I was going through it, I just, you know, it's not like you're saying, okay, I want to be the all-time leading scorer. You don't think about it. But my coach, I have to attribute it to her, just pushing me and always demanding more. Just always pushing me. You know, when it finally happened and I realized that I, you know, got inducted into the Hall of Fame, you know, I was athlete of the year and, you know, and all of these wonderful things. You know, I played on the Sun Devil or Sun Angel Award or something. That was Akeem Olajuwon, like all of these pro football players, you know, Alan Pinkett, and, you know, and all of these people, you know, from back, you know, in the day that played football and basketball. And it was just such an honor to see what, you know, after the fact, you know, after the tears and the hard, you know, work, stuff like that, to see what it accomplished. You know, I'm just so grateful that I just didn't bail out on myself and I've continued, you know, to do it. And so now, you know, when I go into that arena and I can look up there and see my jersey hung, you know, well, my jersey was hung second. It would have been hung first, but it was a political thing that, you know, that the new president decided to hang another girl. She was she's a Native American, the first Native American player, I think, to play at Arizona State. And then she's a politician, and so they put her first. And they were like, "You don't mind that we put?" And I was like, "I'm not," you know, because, you know, the Kym Hampton era is real, you know, and stuff. So I was kind of like, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, that you went up first. We really know the deal. My point is now, and shout out to Native, to, you know, to the fact that,
of course,
you know, the history that she made as a Native American, you know, and stuff. So I was really proud of her. But to see our 2 jerseys up there, you know, and then I have a big mural on the wall inside the arena, you know, and stuff, you know, it just makes me feel very, very, very proud.
You know, I love the fact that you pointed out that instead of running away, and now granted, I understand that there's some kids that they get to certain schools and they feel like, you know, there's no way that it can work out and they don't have a choice but to transfer. I get that. But you said it best. If you are going to pick up and turn around and run every time adversity hits, what's going to happen when you step out into the real world? Because everything's not going to go your way. So if you have a coach that's holding you accountable, that's being tough on you, they may see something in you that you don't see in yourself.
Right. That is so true. You know, I have a daughter that is quite the player here in New York as well. She's a sophomore. And you know, that's one of the main things I always talk to her about, you know, pushing herself, you know, because ultimately, you know, you're going to have to play against yourself. Yeah, you go out and play against these other kids, but your conditioning is going to be determined by how hard you push yourself. Because
Yes.
yeah, in your school, yeah, you're winning the sprints when y'all have to run sprints, but that means if no one else is really pushing themselves, then how hard are you pushing yourself if you're just winning sprints there? Now you've got to go hard. And I always told her too, you know, don't look for the easy way out when you're looking for things. And if something is wrong, talk to your coach, you know, and that's the problem. I think that's one of the biggest reasons why, you know, kids today are so quick to just throw the towel in and quit and go play for a different AAU team, or go play for a different high school, or go play for a different, what am I saying, college team. They want to transfer. You know, the portal was crazy out here.
Yes.
You know, so many kids want to transfer, you know, and number one, I just feel like no one ever wants to look at themselves and really look at themselves and answer that question and say, did I work as hard as I could have? Was my attitude stinky? You know, did I really try hard? You know, am I a team player, or is it just about me? You know, so when you start answering those questions, you know, I think a lot of kids, less kids would transfer, a lot less kids would have transferred if they can ask those questions, you know, because half the kids, especially that leave from here, the New York area, they're not even in shape. So when you get into preseason in college, whoo, shit, that's a whole nother. The first week of preseason training, my first year, if you touched my big toe like that, like every part on me was sore and aching. And that's just a whole different mindset. That's a whole different mental toughness level. And you look around, ain't nobody quitting the sprints. Nobody, everybody's running. So you're like, I can't, you know, but if you're in high school, you just start like, I can't, I'm tired. I see kids walking all the time. I can't run no more. I'm tired. I'm just like, who does that?
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
And so, yeah, but I think, you know, and a lot of that's the coaches too, holding the kids accountable, making the kids run, you know. And I think it's a collectiveness that everyone has to have. Like the coaches have to have that conversation. Listen, I'm making you run, not as punishment. I'm making you run so that when you are out there, you have the energy that if you miss a layup, you can go back up, get your rebound, and put it back. You know, I'm making you run so that you can play both ends of the court, so that you can play offense and come down and score on someone and then get back and make a stop. You know, this is why I make you run. It's not punishment. And once I think our kids learn that hard work is not punishment. You say, you know, it's like the saying, everybody says they want to fly, but shoot, let them get 30 minutes into flapping and they're like, oh shoot, that's for the birds.
Yes.
You know, they want to stop, you know? So I just feel that, you know, and then communication is huge. Communication, you know, we don't know how to communicate. Kids can't go to a coach and say, listen, I'm not getting playing time. What is it that I need to do? You know, and but they'll have an attitude, not say nothing, or feel like the coach don't like them, you know, and stuff. And then there'll be dissension between the team. And then you got this click right here, that click right there, that click right there, you know. And then even coaches can go and talk to kids, because here's my thing: if your livelihood depends on how well these kids play and how, you know, like what you're getting out of them, your wins and losses, it behooves you to kind of get to the kids. They might have a stink attitude, but the stink attitude might be a defensive mechanism, you know, and stuff like that. You know, you look at Phil Jackson, you know, Jesus, he played with the most rowdy and crazy people, but he was able to get everyone to play on the team, win championships, to play together. And ultimately, that's what it's about, you know.
Do you feel